All right, so let's rewind and then fast forward. Uh, Mainly rewind. So last night around 10 o'clock, my phone rang, and it was one of the girls that works in the corporate marketing department. And she was asking me questions. Questions that I was too drunk to answer at the time. But nonetheless, I looked through my messages this morning and I sent her like 10 messages with the explicit nature of saying I am incredibly intoxicated right now. But she's messaging me on my personal number, which means that there may be a little leeway there. But nonetheless, I woke up this morning and I deleted all those messages because even I couldn't tell you what I was thinking at the time because I wasn't thinking. I had already gone to sleep and I'm getting messages in the middle of the night. So that happened last night. So continuing to yesterday morning. So that was last night. This is yesterday morning, about 23 hours ago. I look at my app in the morning when I get into work, and my phone has already rang. It's my boss. He says he needs equipment very badly right now because he's testing some things at the executive corporate office. Of course, I'm not even awake at that time. I won't be awake for at least another hour. I have a tendency to get up right before I'm supposed to be at work. And so I finally get to work. I'm about 3 minutes late, right? I don't start up my computer right away because I'm planning on rebuilding my computer because I my computer's gotten to be a couple of years old and I have newer models in stock. So I decided to start taking apart my computer and putting together a new one. Well, at that point, my phone rings again, and it's my boss yet again telling me how important it is for me to bring him a brand new piece of equipment. And I say to him, okay, I had no idea that you'd be driving in at 6 o'clock in the morning to the executive corporate office. He he's very mysterious about these types of things because he's been trying to get me fired now for at least the last 6 months. My phone rings again 35 minutes later. Why aren't you here yet with that piece of equipment? The whole time he's trying to make it seem like there's no big it's not a big deal. I know something's up and I proceed to make certain that the piece of equipment is in pristine condition. I arrive. He is marching around in the lounge area waiting for me to arrive. I hand him the equipment and I walk back to see to the corporate area to see which executives were there. He, on the other hand, didn't like the idea because I am well liked. He is not. And so that makes things very difficult because I walk in, everybody's glad to see me, all smiles. I walk around, I say hello. Then I walk around to the other side of the building to grab myself a drink and a snack on my way out. And I see more of the executive people. And I say hello. I walk out. One of the people that works there tells me they love my t shirt. I'm like, thanks. Go back to my desk. And as I'm leaving the building to go back to the parking structure, I'm outside and I'm filming for YouTube. And one of the VPs walks by. And she says to me, the executive team is here in full force this week because they're preparing to meet with the investors. And I was just like, wow, I just asked my boss what was going on and he said nothing. And I'm like, why do I keep having these conversations where I'm being kept in the dark? Well, that's simple. They want me gone. So I have that conversation. We talk casually for about 5 minutes. It's obvious that we both are crushing on each other. which is really strange when you think about someone that's up that high. But I would say we're maybe the same age. Maybe she's a couple of years younger, but our start date was almost the exact day that we both got hired on by this corporation. So we have that in common. And she's cougar cute. I won't deny that I've been physically attracted to her since the first day I saw her. And we message back and forth, but she's tried to make it clear that she's flirtatious to me, but she's also, because of her position, she also has to keep her attraction, what do you call it, professional, right? I mean, in a scenario in which things were different, like this is a woman that asked me to come to the holiday party this year or last year, last month, the month before. And yeah, the weeks leading up to the holiday party, she asked me to come to the holiday party that she was hosting 4 separate times. And every time I said no, I can't. I don't want to be around that many people. And every time I said no, she'd look at me and she'd give me her sad face, and then she'd look down, and then she'd like, "Why not?" And I'm like, "No, this is the exact line I used with her. If it was just me and you, I'd spend all day with you." And then she looked at me and she's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you said that." And I'm like, "But at that point, if we were going to have our own holiday party, it would be a date." And she just looked at me like, so unprofessional, millennial steam. That was the look on her face. So 11 a.m. and same person, right? Cutie, VP, late 30s. Her underlings message me, "Hey, millennial steam, we want this stuff." And you know, super cute. I mean, to the extent that I can't contain myself sometimes with these with this group that is under her. They're all fresh out of college. They're the TikTok generation. They're extremely what would I call it? Bubbly. Um, I don't know what else I would say about them other than when it comes to being attractive, these girls are, every one of them that works for her is, I would say, either a 9 or a 10. So when she messages me, "Hey, millennial steam, will you buy me this?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, I'll buy you this." In fact, the last time she messaged me to buy her something, I asked her if she needed a kidney. She thought that was super cute. So she messages me. I say yes. She messages me back a bunch of smiley faces, and then I tell her, I can't say no to you. And she writes me back all laughing emojis, right? And and just because I wanted to make certain that this was legit, because I was spending like $450 of the corporation's money. And when it comes to spending money, you always got to make sure that you check with someone. So I checked with the Cougar VP again, and I said, "Hey, the girls want this. Is it okay?" She's like, "Absolutely." I was like, "Okay, now it's done." All right. So the day passes. I go to the gym. I come back. Talking to yesterday was insanely busy, like insanely to the max busy. And my Gen Z is being, oh Lord, I don't even know how to deal with him anymore. It's like every little thing. If anything is not exactly as it should be, he just can't do it. So he brought over to me like 3 or 4 different broken units. And I'm like, "I'll fix it. I'll fix it. I'll get it fixed. I'll fix it." And that's how it went for most of the day. Well, we were getting ready to start thinking about leaving the office. It's 4:45 p.m. in the afternoon, and I've had probably, I'm going to say, in the neighborhood of 10 to 20 service requests from my area. Remember, I am purchasing, I do so many different things for this company. It's insane. And suddenly, my boss shows up out of nowhere, and he's got the piece of technology that I gave him that morning at 8:45 in his hands. And he walks in, he's got this huge smile on his face, which I didn't understand, and he hands me back the piece of technology and he says, "Millennial Steam, you passed your audit. Damn you. Why can't I get rid of you?" is written all over his face. Because what he was doing is he was testing me. He was auditing me, and he was doing this all behind the cover of his own investigation. He was trying to find more ammunition to give me a second write-up, because he's got to get 4 write-ups in 6 months, because every 6 months the write-ups fall off your record. He's got to get 4 in order to justify a termination based on job performance. And he just got his first one last week. And that's the only one he's been able to get out of me in 3.5 years. And yesterday he tried yet again, because we were having a software glitch that was going on Thursday and Friday of last week, and I didn't understand why it was going on. Everything seemed like it was kosher. And then Monday morning, I called server team to ask what was going on. They said nothing, and it's like the problem just vanished. I was in that conversation with the high level, people that manage that part of the software, and suddenly it was just not there anymore. It's like a glitch in the matrix. But having this is the latest my boss has ever shown up in my office too. He spent the entire day going through the code, going through every single piece of that computer that he could, hardware, software, everything he could, looking for anything that he could ding me on. And for him to be able to spend that much time, you have to think about a person who's in charge of the entire place going through this extent to find something wrong and unable to find anything. And you're just like, was that really worth 8 hours of your time? Well, to him it was, because this is what's happened in this department. And I've said this before. At some point, someone up there in the ivory tower noticed how disliked this group is, but how light Millennial Steam is. And that's not sitting well with the people that are not liked, because they don't understand. But at the same time, these are the people who cannot hold a conversation with an ordinary person. These are people who, by every possible means, people do not want to interact with them. In fact, I think it was Monday morning, I told my boss that unfortunately we had a person that wants to come in to my office to deal exclusively with me in order to get their technology needs filled. And he asked me, it's like, well, why aren't they going through the group? And I'm like, they don't like your group. And to that, he just looked at me like, they don't like my group. And I said, specifically, right here in this request, it says, do not want to deal with that group. And I was like, hey, I just do what I do. It's not my fault. You guys have done this to yourselves. And unfortunately, this is the repercussions of people knowing that every interaction that they've had with your group has been negative. And when you get a call from the CEO at 9 o'clock in the morning on a Monday that he's summoned you up just to fix his computer, bypassing my boss and his entire group, that looks bad. In fact, yesterday when I was talking to the Cougar VP, she told me that when the leadership came to the building that she got tired of helping them, and that's why she requested that someone from my group come there and spend the entire day sitting around waiting for them to need something, which I thought was kind of telling of how bad things really are. But her words, not mine. So how do I end this video? Um, it's I woke up at 5:30 in the morning, made a couple of scrambled eggs, thought about making this, thought about how I was going to format this video because I really didn't know. And I'd hate to say that I'm not still a little bit under the, influence of our fellow substance, but that's what happens. I actually woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning and I couldn't go back to bed, but I also couldn't wake up. So you're in that position where you wake up late enough where you can't just get up and start your day, but there's nothing else you can really do. You got to wait till at least it gets close to 6 o'clock in the morning before you get out of bed because you'll run out of things to do. Like right now, I'm probably going to rinse off and go to the gym because I still have time. I'm going to put this video up and then wait for it to sit on YouTube before I decide to start working on it because I don't know what to call this video. It is a a video that I never intended to make. It's just one that happened. And I like for you guys to know what goes on in my regular life, right? Remember, and I say try to say this as often as I can. All my videos are based on a true story. Names, events, and places are changed so that it protects the guilty. I love that. Because every one of these people are guilty of their various crimes. But you gotta, as a YouTuber, I have to make certain that I keep that anonymous because these stories are entertaining in and of themselves, but no one needs to be harmed because they're obviously very guilty for the things that they do. If I was running a YouTube channel that was entirely made up, you guys wouldn't be watching. That's the thing, is when people make up stories, it's harder to believe them. But when the story is based on truth, the truth is harder than anything to look away from. I would call this channel a train wreck and a half because that's what this place is. You come here, you listen, and you're like, that's his real life. His roach infested apartment, his pro-mobile, and his job that will never give him a promotion. While he's constantly within arm's reach of Evil Corp's most exclusive people. I'm not part of those people. I consider my job no different than being a janitor at Evil Corp. I show up every morning at 8 a.m. and I start cleaning the toilets. I clean the toilets all day until it's time to go to lunch, come back from lunch, and I am elbow deep in another toilet for the rest of the day. That's it. People don't stop crapping just because you're cleaning the toilets. In fact, people crap more when you're cleaning the toilets. So the job of cleaning the toilets is never done. They will always be dirty. And unfortunately, that's the entire tech industry. You're constantly scrubbing various stains off those toilets. And every day that you come back to work, those toilets are as filthy and disgusting and stinky as they were the day before. You take your toothbrush and you start scrubbing until you can see your own face in that toilet. And that's pretty much been my life. It's just scrubbing and scrubbing the technological toilet.